Well, he played great against us the first time we played him and was really effective early in that game. I think he had 15 or 17 at half. He had a big number at halftime. He played well against us up there a year ago at the end of the season. This kid's really developed. In fact, I would say he's the most improved player in our league from last year to this year. I mean, he's an all-league player, in my opinion, and a really difficult matchup because for us, he can take Josh out away from the basket and pick and pop and shoot the three, and then against everybody else on our team, he can go inside and score around the basket. So he poses a lot of problems. I think he had 34 and 27 the 2 games prior to when we played them last. And he's had, huge games. He's, I think, leading the league in scoring.
If you were able to shut it down over that zone, if you were, well, what would you, if you were able to shut it down second half of the zone, if you were them, how would you attack your zone this time?
Well, they've attacked Washington's zone, for example, very well on Saturday. Washington played them 2-3 zone, tried to play them because they were having a hard time guarding them in man initially, just how we were. I watched that game last night, actually, our game, and we didn't go to zone until about 12 minutes left in the game, and then we played it exclusively the rest of the game. We were, even when we were in zone, we got down by as many as 6 or 7, I think. But they've done a good job getting him inside and moving him around and against the zones, and he's done a nice job. They had a 13-point lead in their game against Washington on Saturday, and then went, I believe, 2 for 12 from the foul line in the succeeding 6-7 minutes. I mean, they could have really had that thing out to a bigger lead if they had just made some foul shots.
You look how the season has gone, kind of with the inconsistencies you've dealt with. What are things you thought you would be better at as a team this year?
Closing out the last 5 minutes of the game. We had that opportunity again in Tucson on Saturday with the ball, with a lead, and had a bad shot and a turnover, and then also we hurt ourselves again. As we have in a couple other games where we were fouling in the last 5 minutes with a lead. And so we've got to get better at those 2 areas, just executing better, down the stretch of games.
What do you need to see from guys to be better at it? What do they need
to execute?
What do they need to have in mind? Do they need to be aware of the clock or aware of the situations better?
Yeah, time and score is always a factor that you want players. You're always talking about understanding the flow of a game and time and score, and
you feel you guys have kind of recovered from the early season turmoil enough that has no impact on how things have gone?
Yeah, I mean, we started out 2-5, and I can't remember what our record was when Reeves was dismissed, but I mean, it's from that point forward, there's the stability's been good, and I think guys have improved, as I look at them as a whole and as individuals.
Last time you played them, you guys were down, I think, 5 at the half, and then kind of blitzed in the second half by 8. What changed, if you can recall?
Well, I watched the game last night, so we did a good job coming out. We had a couple of I was watching the game last night. We had 2 3-pointers, one by Zeke and one by Tyler, that kind of bounced around and went in. So we had some good bounces there when we were making our comeback in that second half. And Josh played really well. I mean, I thought Josh in the second half, he got in foul trouble in the first half. I played him with 2 fouls. He didn't pick up his third. And Josh played really well for us and was very effective in that game. I think he had 19 or something like that in that game. So that was a big game.
He seems to be still played, like you kind of talked about, by the same kind of fouls that he's had for the last couple of years.
Yeah, his first foul of the game on Saturday was a foul where, he Josh, don't reach. You're 6'10". It just stands out too much. And he has good hands. Sometimes he reaches and he does deflect the ball, but for the amount of times that he makes a good play versus receives a foul, it's better for us as a team for him not even to attempt it and just keep your hands up and wall up and use your size. But for him, he's always played that way ever since he's a little kid. So, it's his instinct and the way he's always played. It's hard to break, and he's got to learn to do that because we need him.
And going back to closing out games in the last 5 minutes, how much does that have to do with fatigue? I mean, you guys are playing a lot of minutes.
Yeah, you know what? I guess you could use that as a potential issue, but I mean, when it gets in the last 5 minutes, you're a player. I mean, here it is. This is what you play for. This is, what's fun. I mean, and we've won games in the last 5 minutes. I mean, that game at Washington State came down in the last 5 minutes, and that was a good win, winning a close game. So that was positive.
In the last couple of games, Tyler, by his own mission, Howland, so I've had some mental lapses. What's going on with that, with him? With Tyler, these mental mistakes he's been making?
I don't know how to answer that question. I can't. When you say mental mistakes, it's you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, just being able to. He's got to be able to slow down, and in our last game, like in Tucson, he had a big opportunity to make a pass to Josh and got sped up instead of slowing down and setting up the pass with a fake to make it a bounce pass, and just staying really focused and concentrating on the what he needs to do. And he has a big responsibility. You got to remember now he's always guarding our team's best player, and he made some big shots in that game that helped us have an opportunity to have the lead. And he's guarding Fogg, and they ran some good plays to up 6 to get Fogg a shot to cut it to 3, and late in the game to get him a 3-pointer on a handoff that wasn't Tyler's fault. It was one of our big guys that didn't get out and properly hedge that specific play. But also understanding time and score, and learning from that. I thought that actually Tyler did a good job in the Arizona State game. You said the last couple games, and he played well in the Arizona State game. Didn't shoot it great, but he did a lot of other things that helped us win.
Coach, is he going from 20 points to 2 points in that weekend? How does he need to respond? Do you have anything specifically that you say to him to kind of get him back on track after that one back in?
No, Jeek's, got good toughness. He'll bounce back. I'm confident of that. I think that he sometimes, when things aren't going the way he wants them to go, he gets negative, and he's got to be able to, break out of that negativity and put the last play behind him. He lets, he holds on to the last play a little too long sometimes.
Yeah, that's something we talked about.
You guys aren't able to finish in the top 4 at this point. Are you concerned about motivation going into this weekend?
No, I'm not. We're playing against good teams. It's the last 2 games of the year. I think our guys, we had a good practice yesterday. I think our guys will be motivated to play their best, no question.
I know this is jumping ahead, but last year Washington cost you the title, the regular season title. Do you use that at all? Do you potentially the same situation where you cost them a share or the whole thing?
The revenge thing? No, I'm not even thinking about Washington right now, to be honest with you. But if that were the case, no, that's not what motivates us.
As a staff, how much discussions have you had about the team not being able to get over that hump when trailing at the half?
When trailing at the half?
Yeah. You guys are like 1-10, 1-11 when we trail at the half.
Yeah, I don't talk about us trailing at the half, but I've talked about the fact that we've had opportunities in Eugene, Seattle, and Tucson against very good teams in our league, all in the top four to win and come close, but not quite get it done. And so, you know, there still will be more opportunity. Not in a true road game anymore, but to play against those, you know, types of teams.
Have you had a team like this before, unable to get over that hump, per se?
You know, you're using your definition of hump, so
When you're trailing at halftime, have you had teams struggling to finish games, to come from behind when
now, actually, you know what? A lot of my teams, I remember like in 2007, it seemed like we were down at halftime every time we played. And that was a team that went to the Final Four. So, yeah, some teams are different in that respect. Some teams are very good playing from behind. Some teams, you know, aren't. Typically, though, when you look at the records, you know, and you're looking at the stat sheet that shows, you know, when this happens or that happens, when you're down at halftime or up. Typically, if you just look at the percentages, typically when you're up at halftime, you have a better percentage chance of winning than losing.
You talk about execution in the game. If you had to pick out one area at the end of the game that was vital for your guys to be on the floor, or maybe whoever's handling the ball, what would that be?
Just shot selection, and then I would say not fouling.
So you guys, this last weekend at the sports arena, any thoughts on how that's been, how to deal with that the whole year? Have you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was. We sat in this room back in November and talked about this October, you know, for Media Day, and yeah, it's been trying and you know, definitely different than playing on campus in Poly, but you know, we've got the 2 games left, and we want to finish strong. And I think the people at the sports arena have been great to us and very, very supportive. And Carl, who really runs the building, has been really good. And so they've been very cooperative and very helpful. And we appreciate everybody at the sports arena for the fine job they've done all year.
And there's talk about the Sports Illustrated article coming out. Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, I know there's an article coming out, and I think it's tomorrow.
Have you been contacted? Were you contacted for that story?
I was contacted last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe it was Wednesday.
Any idea what the subject is going to be?
I can't speculate.
With recruiting stuff coming up to finish up, how do you handle the negative story that has a national interest?
Make the players that we're involved with aware of it, and we've done that. So that it's not coming out without some knowledge of the article.
Do you think there was a period where you there's kids in programs with drug problems?
You know, specifically, I can't talk about any former player or student relative to anything having to do with that. We have a comprehensive drug policy here at UCLA where anytime someone fails a random drug test, I'm alerted, the trainer's alerted, the person overseeing the drug policy here, and there's a very good and outstanding, I think, program in place for student athletes from all teams to receive education and to receive counseling, and and to receive discipline.
Can you think back to anything you might have seen one of your players that would consider appropriate, felt you should have handled it differently, or anything inappropriate a player might have done? You felt you've handled all of those?
I mean, there's, you know, it was specific players in terms of working with our student athletes relative to, and I don't know, I guess I got to ask you to be more specific.
Well, I'm just saying, is that you had seen a player that has done something that was considered to be inappropriate by yourself or something, you felt you've handled all those cases correctly?
Yeah, I think for the most part I have.
You said the most part, is there some you felt maybe you should have done a little more with or a little less with?
You know, I'd have to go back, Chris, and get specifics as to, you're speaking in generalities. I mean, no one's perfect. And I would never claim to be that person. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I'm definitely not perfect. And, you know, so.
Any other questions?
Did you catch Kevin Long with 3-point shootout?
Pardon me? You know what? I was really happy to see him, number one, get in the three-point contest because he finished in the top 10 last year and then win it. He's just having an unbelievable year, and I think they're playing tonight here in L.A., so he and Malcolm both are here right now.